How about three today's hottest music? Right now, it's a pleasure to be joined on the line by an artist with a long and storied career in music. He was a founding member of Chris John, the first R&B act to be signed by Jay-Z to Rockefeller Records. He had a successful run as a drummer for the metal group, a band called Pain, and now he's sort of entering his third act as a solo artist, this time with the sound he calls urban pop. Please join me in welcoming Alan Anthony. Alan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Hanging in there, just, trying to stay busy with the music and put out some stuff that people will enjoy.
Are you in Cali right now?
No, man, I moved to Atlanta. I left California about 3.5 years ago.
So
my family down to the ATL, and I've been down there ever since.
Fantastic. Now, you grew up in California. You grew up in Oakland. Your dad was a musician. How did that influence your musical tastes?
My father was a musician. He used to be with a group called the Natural Four, and they ended up. My dad got away from it. He didn't really like the way that the industry was. He got away from it. He wanted to raise a family, and then that group ended up becoming the Whispers, which was a pretty big R&B group back in the day.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but music was always around the house, so it was just one of those things. It was a natural progression for me, I guess. It was just bound to happen. I mean, I was in my first band at 11 years old, so, it was always there. He didn't want me to do it, though. He wanted me to do something else. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, he walked away from it. I can imagine he probably wasn't real crazy about you running toward it, but maybe that's part of rebelling a little bit, right?
Yeah, it is, man. It is, definitely. But he respects what I do. He likes what I do, but his thing was always have a plan B, always have a backup plan.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Alan Anthony. You've been making music, as you said, your whole life. How did it come to pass that Jay signed you to The Rock?
To make a long story short, before we had a record deal, my brother and I, we were looking for a deal. The guy we were doing music with, his name is E.A. and CMT. They were a production group out of Oakland, and they were doing a deal with Priority at the same time. Damon and Jay were doing a deal with Priority. Long story short, they dropped off a tape of ours to a lady named Shelly Fontana, and she would play it around the office. And one day, Damon and Jay-Z walked up in there while she was playing it, and they asked, "Who what is this you're playing?" She told these two cats from Oakland. Their name is Chris John. They don't have a deal, and one of our friends gave us the tape and said, "Well, we need to get in contact with them. We want to talk to them." And it was just a demo, but it was full of smoke and a couple other songs on there. They called us, said they were serious about sitting down with us and trying to ink something out, and they flew down, took us out to dinner, and probably a month or two after we worked out the contracts, we signed a deal with them. And being the first R&B act on Rockefeller Records. And
life became a little bit crazy for a while, I would imagine.
Life got crazy after that single drop, yeah.
But then, eventually, as happens with deals like that, it fell through. You kind of regrouped, and essentially reinvented yourself as a musician. Talk to me about a band called Pain. So many people would say that was such an unexpected departure from the R&B sound. What led you to that?
Like I said, like when I first started doing music, the first band I was in was actually a rock band. I was 11 years old, and me and all my cousins, we all played music. I was a drummer at the time. I really wasn't a drummer. They said I was going to be a drummer, so I just ended up being a drummer. So I taught myself how to play drums. We played. We practiced and practiced and practiced, and ended up doing house parties, things like that. We were very young kids doing house parties. Everybody kind of grew up, got away from it. Rap started getting big, so people started breaking off and getting rap deals and things like that. And then after my fame was kind of going sour, I walked away from the label. I walked away from Rockefeller, and I said, well, you know what? I want to do my rock stuff again. I want to do something else. So me and my cousin Sean, who was a guitar player, we got together in my grandmother's basement and started practicing, and then we decided we were going to start a band. And that's how a band called Pain was formed. And from that point on, we took it real serious, started doing shows, started building a name for ourselves in the Bay Area. And before we knew it, we were opening for big acts like Smashing Pumpkins and Living Color, and shot some videos, played the Whiskey, played pretty much all the hot clubs in LA. Played the Warfield, and it was moving really fast, man. And I got kind of burnt out on it, you know. And it was going fast, but the industry was just, you know, you start listening to what the industry says, and you start getting soured out about it again. We kind of just did it for the love of the music, and then, you know, went through a couple bass players, went through a couple drummers. After a while, we just got kind of tired of it. At least I did, and I just wanted to I was trying to move, and that's what kind of shut the whole thing down. But we had an album. We put out an album that really no one knows about. We sold it independently, you know, and we made a name for ourselves, but it just didn't last long. I didn't see a future in it, you know.
Right. No, I completely understand. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Alan Anthony. Now on to the third act. You're a solo artist now, in some ways starting over from scratch, kind of striking out on your own to make it big again. It's like I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, because the lifestyle can be so fast. It's tough to break through, and then you break through, and it's exhausting. But here you are again. You're recharged. You're coming back with this new sound. You're calling it urban pop. Talk to me about urban pop and the void that you hope it can fill in the American musical landscape.
Well, not really trying to. If I fill a void, that'd be nice. I'll say it. You know, I'm not doing it to get big. I'm doing it. I told myself if I was going to do it again, I'm going to do it independently. And because that way I can call my own shots. I can do the music I want to do. I don't have to have somebody telling me how high I have to jump, things like that. And with urban pop, my definition of it was it still had street appeal. I'm a hip hop kid. So it incorporates the streets, but it's still big enough to have mass appeal. I have my rock elements in it also.
Right.
You're not going to hear like a full-fledged rock song, but you will hear elements of that in it. You will hear elements of hip hop and rap, and but with my situation, I wanted to bring songs of love and hope back, that kind of stuff. Not preaching to people, nothing like that. I'm speaking on my experiences. What I hear on the radio, at least in hip hop and in rap and stuff like that, and R&B, there's not a lot of love out there. You know, it's more sex than anything, and you know that's okay. But there's a lot more to music than that. The stuff that I grew up off of, probably the stuff you grew up off of.
Sure.
They were really talking about something, you know. And with that, putting a good beat behind it that can either make you move or, you know, or do whatever. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to speak from experience like we did with the Chris John album. And I want to talk about love and relationships because nobody's doing it. You know, I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Alan Anthony.
And the beautiful.
Alan Anthony is the artist. The new single's called B.S.T. You want to take our listeners here on Hot 103 into that?
Yes, this is Alan Anthony. I'm doing a beautiful interview on Hot 103, and this song is called B.S.T. It stands for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Anybody that's in a relationship or going through something, everybody knows that it takes blood, sweat, and tears to make a relationship work.
Here it is, baby. Turn it up. It's on Hot 103.
Yeah. Listen. I'm a go-getter, a go-weather, always with her, stay down, uplifter. Body liquor, get shifter. She let me take all her love the way she smiles. Got a sexy little smile on the wild. She knows that I'm a born winner, natural, proper attire, professional. My swagger run wild. The attitude so good, can't you hover in her life, and you know it's all good. If there's something wrong, she call it out. Arguments, sometimes we shout. Never talk about walking out. No walking out. When I need a little, let her breathe. Inhale, exhale, blow it out. And when the weather get cold, waters get rough, I'm the captain of the vessel. See the blood inside my vessel, protected from every storm. Watch it, you'll keep her warm. I love her, Lord. She's my blood, my sweat, Penetrate like hollow points, leave a flesh wound. Frustration lead to contemplation, what's the next move? I told her how I feel, what you worried about? I said I don't need a life jacket, I'm not bailing out. I never learned to swim, not talking funkadelic. Now I'm struggling to the surface, looking so pathetic. I'm allergic to apologies and I'm so apologetic. What did you say? At first you say you love me, you're skeptic now. Tears overflow like a dream to drown me. My heartbeat on speed, you can't even read. My genie in a bottle wishes come true. I'ma say a prayer for you. She's my girl, I swear, yeah, my tears, yeah. When she's away, I miss a touch so much. She's my blood. She's my sweat, my tears. It's too much.
How about 3 today's hottest music? That is the new single from Alan Anthony. His debut as a solo artist. It's called B.S.T. We've got Alan Anthony on the line with us now. Alan, what would you've been through so much, you've seen so much of the music industry, you've done so many great shows opening for virtually everyone that you could imagine. What would you say has been the highlight of your career so far?
The highlight of my career, honestly, was when I was doing, going back to the rock music. We did X Fest in 2000, I believe it was 2006. We opened for Smashing Pumpkins, and it was like 25,000 people. And it was only because a fan of ours over the internet loved our music and made the radio station play it, and then the radio station fell in love with it, and they got us on the stage. And for me, it was a high point because we hadn't been doing it that long, and to get to that point to where it's like, wow, we're performing in front of all these people and they're really receptive to it, you know. I think that was a high point. There were some low points, but that was definitely the high point. The high point with Chris John was touring with Jay-Z.
Sure.
You know, early on, because he was doing a Reasonable Doubt album that was blowing up, and he was gracious enough to bring us along with him, and have us get on stage and open up for him, and that was really cool. That was very cool.
You we're talking to Alan Anthony. If you're just tuning in, you strike me. You strike me as a guy who just has music kind of coursing through your veins. What inspires you? Talk to me about that process a little bit. When you've got a song inside you and it has to get out.
Yeah. You know what inspires me? A really, really good beat allows me, if I hear a good beat, I can write to it. I'm not the kind of guy that can walk around and get melodies going through my head. Which is why I surround myself around some really, really good producers. For instance, the B.S.T. was produced by a guy named Ike Boy, who works for a company called Inkwell Productions out here in Atlanta. I'm one of the writers for that company also, but he's a brilliant, he's a good songwriter, but he's a brilliant producer. And I tend to hook up with people that they do beats that they know I'm going to like.
Right.
You know? And then I can build from there. But I have been in situations, and then it happens like from having a situation in my relationship, I tend to write about it before I talk about it. So I take it from that point. But I'm still looking for that beat to give me that to give me that canvas I need to start, you know, laying it down.
Right. I've heard a lot of people say that having that beat, that is kind of instrumental to their process.
It really is for me.
We're talking to Alan Anthony. Alan, how can your fans stay up to date with you online?
I'm on Facebook, so you can go that's like facebook.com/Alan Anthony Music. There's a lot of Alan Anthony's on Facebook. I just found that out.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. Mine's spelled ALLEN, not AN, Anthony. On my Twitter. Also, it would be twitter.com/Alan's Archive. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay.
Because my Twitter's hooked up through my Facebook, and I always put music on SoundCloud. You can type in Alan Anthony on SoundCloud. I usually put music that probably will never get released, but I just want to put it out there to see if people get some feedback, what people's opinions are about it, that kind of thing. I always have stuff on YouTube. We're going to start posting more stuff like rehearsals, things like that, new music in the studio, just giving people a glimpse of what's to come for 2014. And that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, and good luck.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. You got a great radio voice, dude. That's amazing.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Alan Anthony, the brand. Oh, is the new single available to buy? Can you go on iTunes, or is it available?
Right now, what we're going to do, and we're testing the waters. We want to get feedback on people. So if anybody out there that's listening to that song likes it, I want you to call Damien up. So he can give us some feedback. We're looking to do a first quarter release. Right now, we're just trying to bubble it up, get people on notice that, Alan Anthony has been gone for a minute, but he's making a comeback, and he's got some good music for everybody here. It's coming soon.
Excellent. Alan Anthony, again, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, man.
This is today's hottest music, Hot 103.